Welcome to the 2021 Massmart Shop Stewards Alliance, Massmart in Crisis. Let's take a look at what's happening in Massmart at the moment. Massmart is selling off Cambridge Food, Rhino, Massfresh, and 12 cash and carry stores to ShopRite. The sale is still subject to regulatory approval, which Massmart hopes will be concluded in the first quarter of 2022. Very importantly, under the terms of the deal, Massmart said that staff affected by the sale will continue to be employed by ShopRite on terms and conditions that are, on the whole, not less favorable than their existing employment contracts. So what's to come? Massmart will not hesitate to sell more of its underperforming assets. Also, Massmart will use some of the proceeds of the sale to ShopRite to buy a controlling stake in a grocery delivery app called OneCart, part of its strategy to shore up its online shopping capabilities, which have fallen behind rivals like Checkers and Takealot. In terms of the rest of Africa, Massmart said last week that it had put up 14 game stores in East and West Africa for sale, to focus on its core strengths as the group losses narrowed during the half year ended June 2021. At the end of 2020, Massmart's store footprint looked a little something like this, spread across Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, Botswana, Namibia, Lesotho, Swaziland, and South Africa. However, in August, Massmart announced it would be shutting down 14 game outlets in West and East Africa in Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda. In South Africa, the map looked like this at the end of 2020. However, by 2022, the map is more likely to look like this. And an important question is whether game will survive. An objective of the turnaround plan is a game reset. There is speculation that Massmart may sooner rather than later get rid of game, because game currently still runs at a loss. Massmart has huge amounts of debt of over 23 billion, and game recorded a 15.5% decrease in sales in 2020 and another 8.7% decrease in sales for the first half of 2021. Massmart's plan to reboot game includes relaying the stores, exiting the food selling element, and introducing apparel sales. However, in the media call, Sleip said that he was optimistic about turning game around, but that his patience was limited. In terms of revenue and profit, we can see that since 2011, there has been an increase in revenue. However, from 2019 to 2020, we saw a drop in revenue of 7.54%. That's 7 billion rand less in revenue. In the half-year results published in August, Massmart said that group sales for the 26 weeks up to end June 2021 had risen 4.4% to 41.3 billion, compared with sales of 39.6 billion over the course of the same period in 2020. Overall, the group continued to bleed cash, with losses for the period of nearly 1.1 billion against 1.2 billion negative cash flow in the preceding period. That led to headline losses per share of almost 300 cents. Let's take a look at this comparison directly from the annual report. The average sales per store in the rest of Africa is around 158 million. However, average sales per store in South Africa is over 210 million. The most of the group sales, 91%, comes from South Africa. In terms of profit, we see a dramatic loss of over 1.8 billion for the 2020 year. When looking at the divisions, we can see that Cambridge and Rhino, as well as Game, are big losers for this company. In terms of executive director pay, Massmart has two executive directors, Mitchell Slape, who's the CEO, and Mohammed Abdul Samad, who's the CFO. Over the course of the last 9 years, we can look at the Massmart CEO's remuneration. When we compare 2019 to 2020, we see that despite the losses the company faces, Massmart CEO Slape received the highest total remuneration of any CEO at Massmart since 2013, with a cash bonus of over 6 million, a salary of over 7 million, and benefits of almost 7 million. In terms of the average remuneration for executive directors, on the whole, we see that the executive director salary went down, but when we look at executive director total remuneration, it went up by over 23%. And this stands in sharp contrast with the dramatic losses the company experienced over the course of the last year. In terms of non-executive directors, we see that average non-executive director remuneration is down about 5% over the course of the last financial year. When we take a look at workers, not unexpectedly, we see a drop in workers of about 5,000 workers from 2019 to 2020. Massmart's number of employees has gone down to less than it was in 2014. Massmart refers to its workers as associates, something it picked up from Walmart. And when we think about the 7,000 jobs being sold to ShopRite, Massmart has publicly promised to keep these jobs intact. A quote from Slape: "I think the most important reason why I think the regulatory process should move with speed is that we have 7,000 employees and jobs that sit in those businesses. We are confident that in the management of a business that is set up to focus on food, those jobs are going to be saved, and that is a key element of the transaction." When we take a brief look at wages, we can compare Mozambique, Kenya, Malawi, and Lesotho, with Malawian workers being paid by far the lowest compared to their peers. We explored some breakout groups during our meeting where we looked at things that stand out for us from the report and some things that made us feel worried. These were things like the loss of over 7,000 jobs and the closure of the game stores. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me or visit our website, our Facebook, or our Twitter.